I decided to make cabbage rolls for the first time. I started filming late, so I made a sauce with onions, garlic, carrots, celery, mushrooms, red pepper, and a can of tomato sauce. I added some smoked paprika, some ground roasted cumin, and some dried parsley to the sauce. Next, you have to core your cabbage. So you take that big nubby core out of the middle. You add it to a pot of boiling water that's a bit salted. And then the leaves sort of naturally peel off through the boiling process. This takes a bit of time, but you want the leaves so that they're not too tender that they'll rip while you're handling them. So you still want them to have a little bit of like kind of al dente, like pasta. And I take the leaves off one by one as they come apart from the head of the cabbage and rinse them under cold water to stop the cooking process. Once you have about 12 to 16 full leaves of cabbage, you have a little bit of the cabbage left, which I rinse under cold water so I can handle it. And then I grate it. I did this by hand. You can use a grater or a food processor and add them to your sauce. This will add a little bit more liquid to the sauce, and because it's sort of the sweeter part of the cabbage, it'll add that nice sweet cabbage flavor at the end. Now I'm going to make my filling. These are vegan, as I said, so I'm using a can of lentils and some cooked brown rice. I learned a lot through this process, so I'll just have you know you can play around with the protein, you can play around with the grain, you can add quinoa, kamut, whatever you want. You can add any kind of protein to it. I could even add the textured vegetable protein. That would be really delicious. I'm adding paprika, again, smoked paprika, roasted ground cumin, and dried parsley, only because I didn't have any fresh parsley. I've got some minced onion and garlic here, mixing that in, and I added some lemon juice. Once I tasted it, I felt like it needed a little bit of fresh tang. And this, again, very arbitrary. It's up to you and how you want to flavor this. You can go wild. I've added more smoked paprika, more ground cumin, and more parsley. So the totals are about 3 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 3/4 teaspoon of ground roasted cumin, and about a tablespoon or 2 of dried parsley, and half a lemon. And because of the whole vegan aspect, I just feel like I can't go without a bit of tamari and some liquid smoke, which is a vegan's dream. Those two add a lot of wonderful flavor. So now we're ready to roll up these lovely little cabbage rolls. The most important part here is making sure the leaf is flexible. In order to do that, you got to take off this really hard rib at the end. So you just kind of trim it back to about half the size so that the whole leaf is like one uniform thickness. And then I'm adding about 2 heaping tablespoons of the filling per leaf. Now this is a larger cabbage. It depends on the size of your cabbage. Again, I've discovered through this process that you can pretty much do whatever you want. Put these little packages together, cook them in tomato sauce, and they're just absolutely scrumptious. Next time I'm going to add even more spices and more herbs because I think it makes a huge difference, especially because they're vegan. They don't have a lot of fat. So I'm thinking about adding different types of fat, different types of grain, different kinds of protein. So it's something I'm definitely going to play around with in the future. But as a starter vegan dish that I've never made before that I wanted to give a try, I think this turned out really, really well. These are adorable little cabbage rolls. So once I have them all rolled up, I'm ready to add them to my pot. So I have a Dutch oven here. You have the option as well of putting them in a single layer on a baking dish like you would lasagna. And I'm adding half the sauce to the pan. You do that the same thing with a baking dish. Because the recipe I followed said to do it on the stovetop, I just followed the recipe. Here's what I do. I follow the recipe the first time, and then the next time I go all crazy. So here I am covering, once I've used half the sauce on the bottom, I fill it up with cabbage rolls, cover them with the more sauce, and cook them for a very long time, like an hour, hour and a half on the stove top. And then there we have it. Cabbage rolls! Vegan with a bit of sour cream. You don't have to use that if you want to go full vegan. And there we are, slicing in and digging in. Thank you for watching, and please try this recipe. Hope you enjoy.